our judges are meeting for the final time to choose the primary school winner of the Ambic STEM Challenge 2024.
Right then, so Ambic STEM Challenge 2024 Primary School Edition. We've narrowed it down to our 5 finalists. What a tough job, guys.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like we've been here all day. We pretty much have. So that was 43 schools in total. 5,000 children at least have participated, which is absolutely mind-blowing. It's fantastic. So if you're one of the 5 schools that's made it to the final, a massive round of applause, because it is difficult to get to this stage. And at this point, we've got the difficult job of deciding which one's going to win.
Yep.
We're taking on board all of your thoughts on social media. We've noticed people, since we posted them online, we've noticed there's been lots of likes, lots of comments, lots of people choosing their favourites online. We are taking note of all of that. We have taken note of all that, but there has to be one winner. And that's the difficult job we've been left with today. So the first one that we'd like to look at is, forgive me if I say this incorrectly, Saint Teresa of Lisieux, and it's a year 3 pupil. We don't have a name, and it's a young girl who has designed a flip table.
Can you tell me a little bit about your design?
So, it's a table that can flip over to a whiteboard.
And why is that helpful?
Because you don't have to get up and go and get a whiteboard.
What other problems do we have with having whiteboards on desks?
It takes up a lot of space on our desks.
I'll kick it off by saying, what a fantastic design. So the idea is, and the little video they posted on Facebook did a really good job of getting the message across, but they have to get up out of the chairs to go and get the whiteboards, I'm assuming from the trays, come back, write on the whiteboards and then put them away afterwards. This young girl has designed a whiteboard on the underside of the table so you can flip it and write on it. In terms of originality and creativity, I think that's pretty good. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's questioned a lot. A lot of people around the room we started discussing it, going practicalities, how would it work, how would it flip and things like that. But like you say, an issue if you're sharing your information with a teacher and things like that, get your
in case it's upside down.
I think I think it's quite good, like you say, good design. For a nice looking piece of furniture. I'm not sure how much different it'll be from a normal table.
Yeah, from like a creativity point of view.
But practicality wise, really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've got the hardest job because I'm coming last here, I've got to find something else to say that you guys are not saying here. So I think I'm going to sit where you're sitting next time, to be quite honest with you, because I don't think this is really fair. To be quite honest with you, creativity, exactly what you guys said, I think exactly this. It's brilliant. It's a really, really good idea, having all them on the table. Loved it. I don't know, obviously, if it's originality, like completely different, because there is tables out there. But yeah, I did love it, and it took me a while to figure out how it would look when you actually flipped it, so she's done a really good job for that.
Yeah. It's thought through. They've got a little model, they've got really the mechanism of how it spins. I would have a question mark over finger traps, but that's one issue we come across quite a lot.
Problem that we don't need right now.
It's a problem we come across in the furniture industry all the time. But I think as far as the design goes, I think that it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's really good. Yeah,
it's a good finalist.
Fantastic, great finalists. Well done to those guys. So next we've got Fatfield Academy, Jenna Mystery. Apologies if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. But this one seems pretty good in terms of the idea behind it. So this particular young lady has, I probably shouldn't have said young lady, should I? This particular year 3 pupil has designed something around sort of social anxieties, ADHD, autism, and has designed a desk which goes off into like a breakout room. So the idea is maybe if she's overstimulated, she can go and spend a bit of time with the desk and calm herself down, which I think is brilliant. Helen, do you want to kick it off with your thoughts?
Yeah, to be quite honest with you, I love this one, and when everybody was in the room we had quite a debate about this, because initially it's a table, but what's behind this table is the passion that somebody's actually had in coming up with this solution. I don't know if the girl in question suffers from ADHD herself or anxiety, but it's a really massive problem in schools. So I think that to have a solution like this, a simple solution where somebody can go off and relax, will actually overcome quite a lot of problems within the school. And I love that little bit about that had been added in there about the band as well, for I'm doing it now. I'm doing it now while I'm talking. I'm bouncing my leg right now. So I think that it's a really, really good little touch for somebody to be adding on there. So I think even though it's a simple design, it's a very well thought out design of a big problem that is all over globally. To be quite honest with you, that would solve the solution in schools. So I loved it.
Completely agree. Stuart, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think looking at the entry, I think she's done a fantastic job because visually it's just showing what it wants with the stress type balls and fidget spinners and that in. She's done a little mood board, so she's actually been able to demonstrate. That's where we've seen this sort of band on the feet, which is really good. It's hard. I don't want to be negative, but the only bit for me is the creativity of how the table looks. It's a desk. Which I think practical, and it hits the nail on the head for the brief of come up and fix a solution. But designing a piece of furniture, that's the only thing that is really missing from that to be fantastic.
No, I think it's a very valid point. I totally echo what you're saying in terms of the mood board though. In industry, it's something we will always start a problem with. A mood board, we'll get everything on there. It highlights everything. Obviously that band which is on the mood board, I'm not sure why it's not on the final design. It must have been either forgotten about or unless it's removable perhaps. But I do agree. I think it's a very simple design in terms of it is a table with a few bits and pieces added to it. But I would argue as well that simple designs sometimes are really effective, and I think the problem behind it is very well thought out.
Yeah, so it's definitely well done.
Well done.
Yeah, nice.
To Jenna Mystery.
Nice entry.
Yeah, very good entry. So that leads us on to Prince Bishop's Community Primary School. We don't have a particular name for this student, and we don't know which year group they are, but they have designed a tree for us, the Tree of Technology. This is visually, again, striking. Helen, what's your thoughts on this one?
Well, this one again caused some heated debates within the room today, didn't it? Because everyone loved it. They really did, and we thrashed out some very good ideas on the situation. Yeah, it's really striking. It's a really, really good idea. I really, really like the design. The only thing is for me with this one, to be quite honest with you, is if we were going to produce this, we'd need to make sure that we actually
see the space.
We need to see the space. It needs a site visit with this one.
You need to try and be able to visualise the space to be able to see what the furniture is going to look like. And I think the one thing that jumps out to me on this that I think is fantastic is they've thought about the fact that they've got a glass roof. Yeah. And there's obviously sunlight coming through there. And they've created, where do you go outside if you want to get in the shade? Well, you stand under a tree. So they've designed a tree, the Tree of Technology, which effectively is going to cast a shade that they can go and sit underneath, or like in the sun, but read. And I think I think there's a lot of thought gone into this design. I think it's fantastic. What do you think, Stuart?
Yeah, it goes like to another level in another area because it's talking about. Visually it looks nice.
Yep.
Which a lot of these do. A lot of the drawings look fantastic off the kids. But they've talked about a central column, so it sounds like there's a steel beam or something like that. So yeah, obviously without seeing a photograph of the school or going to visit it, if there's a steel column and they've wrapped it around with a table, so this could be very, very complicated to make, or it could be very simple to make. So it's hard to judge without actually seeing where we're going to put it. Yeah. You couldn't repeat that in lots of different schools, so it would be specifically for what they want. But like you said, with the glass roof, the brief is it's for their school, it's not for anybody else. So right. I think that's a really, really clever design.
I agree.
It is a really, really clever one. Also, having the screen on the beam. Do we need the screen on the beam?
Well, logistically, we might have an issue. It depends how big the beam is, doesn't it?
It does.
Because you've got to try and make sure there's enough room to fit a computer behind there. Yeah. You've got a screen inset. Yeah, you've got to be fit. You've got to get electrics to there. It does raise a lot of questions. But I think in terms of what the thought behind it, in terms of the design, I think
it's phenomenal. But at the end of the day, we need to make a decision today on the winner. And today, without any more facts on this one, we can't really make a decision on it. So if we could make a decision today, it's a very, very top strong opponent in the competition, most definitely. But in terms of obviously needing a site visit, I think that's obviously one of the things we would need to think about.
No, I don't disagree. I think it's a tough decision at this stage anyway, isn't it? They're all fantastic.
But if you put that photograph against a finished article, I can walk into the library room. I can visually
visualise it as well.
That I think the way they've drawn it and that you can stand around and go, there's the drawing, there's the finished article. I think that would be a striking part for any school. So
it would, and especially with the light as well, all the colours, and if the lights are reflecting enough, you can see it obviously being a really striking bit of work, can't you?
It's definitely going to get hard.
It's getting harder and harder as we go through, isn't it? So next up we have Ryop Junior School. So Ryop Junior School, and it looks like it's Sophie who's done this particular design that's made the final. And Sophie has designed a make your own musics. It's like a storage centre almost to put all of the different musical instruments. There's all sorts in there. I mean, she's got some great ideas in terms of the different materials she's going to use. The design again is very striking. She's got clear plastic, so it's going to cast some colourful light into the room, which is a great idea. But yeah, I mean, again, another visually striking design. What do we think to this one? Yeah,
again, they've incorporated everything about their school, so make your own music and stuff like that, make your own kind of music. You can see that's come from the classes themselves. I think it would look striking, the big arch on the back, nice.
Agreed.
The only thing for me is it's got the nice set of drawers on the bottom. Ultimately it's a set of drawers, so could it be just the way you design the top part, because you could put any set of drawers underneath and it would practically do the job. But I think they've designed it, they've thought about it, they've put the sizes on. That's a really nice, clever way of thinking of a piece of furniture.
Yeah, it's a lovely design, isn't it?
They've put loads of thought into it, and they've literally they've documented everything. There's lots of literature on what they want to do, and it is a nice bit of furniture. You couldn't just stick it on top of a bit of drawers, because that wouldn't be the furniture that was designed. Okay, but yeah, I do think it's absolutely great. It's obviously solving a problem as well, as you say, in forgotten bits of instrument. It's trying to protect the instruments and make sure they're preserved so they last longer and all that sort of stuff. So I really liked it.
Absolutely, I love the fact that they've incorporated the school logo as well.
Yeah,
it's something that actually last year in 2023 we did have a couple where they incorporated the school logo. It makes it very unique to that school, and I think it makes it more personal
as well.
Absolutely, and I think one of the things that's fantastic to talk about with all of these designs that are absolutely brilliant is whoever the winner is irrelevant. Making the finals fantastic, but I think to have their own piece of legacy sitting in the school after we've left, that must be pretty special.
Were you that imaginative when you were a kid? Because I don't think I was. I've seen some pretty good stuff today.
Absolutely. I mean, you wouldn't have believed there were primary school students, would you? Definitely not. So last but by no means least, we have Christ the King Catholic Primary School. And this is a project outdoor Wellington boot storage and seating. The design, the winning design is from Beatrice Green. I mean, and again, I've said striking on every single one, but I mean, it's the only word I can use to describe. We've got loads of use of colour. We've got thoughts about, so this particular one's going outside. We've got rain cover to make sure that whatever it is underneath doesn't get wet. We've got welly storage. The thing that I like about this one particularly is the welly storage is quite clever, because it's designed to keep the wellies so that they put them on a peg. And obviously it means that there's not going to be things falling into the wellies. It's also good use of space, so the kids can go and hook their wellies on. But on the other side, you've got vegetable stepping stones and a seat to put your wellies on. I mean, it's great, isn't it? What do we think?
Yeah, visually, again, that's something I would like to go and see in a school.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can take that picture, look at it, and go, that's something. I think it's designed for Key Stage 1. So the design brief, they've designed it for the younger audience, the younger kids in the school. That's something that you would want to go and put your wellies on, get out there and have a splash around the water and stuff like that. So
you can see, can't you?
I'd play my wellies there for sure.
Yeah. I think the hard part for is they've come up with a structure to go over the top. So a bit like the tree design.
Yeah.
I can see it. We need to have a look at it and see, is it practical to be able to build a bit of a structure over the top.
Very good point.
The actual furniture in the middle and the actual main idea of it is really good. That's
creatively, it's fantastic, isn't it? But you're right. I mean, things you've got to consider when you're putting a structure outside, especially in a school environment, is you've got to think of the foundations. Will the foundations be able to take something like this? Is it a size where we need to look at planning permission, which makes this a little bit more difficult? We've got wind loading to consider. Without being completely negative, that is. But you're right. From the furniture point of view, the furniture underneath is fantastic. But yeah, I think from my point of view, I mean, it ticks definitely a lot of boxes. But that's why it's in the final.
It's a very complicated design, as in, they've put a lot into it, which is great. Good for you, Liam, for your team to have to design something like that and build it.
Absolutely,
it looks great.
It looks absolutely brilliant. As you see, you can see it in the school, you can see where it sits, and the year group that's done this is absolutely phenomenal, that they've got all the detail that they've got. But again, next time I'm definitely sitting at the front of these two on the panel, because they've went over everything that I was going to say. But my main problem and concern would be the foundations, and obviously literally the structurally, how we're going to build this, where's it going to go. When you look at the dynamics and the measurements properly, needs a site visit. But as an idea, creativity and solving a problem, I think it's absolutely amazing.
No, I completely echo everything you said. So that's our 5 finalists. I suppose now we've got the tricky job of what we need to do is decide on who are crowning our winner.
Approximately 10 hours later.
If that was in a creative shape or
you're right.
something different, then you've created a new looking piece of furniture.
I totally agree with what you're saying in terms of originality, creativity. That there outscores the table without a shadow of a doubt. But in terms of the problem that they're getting around, I would say that scores higher. Personally, in my mind, I would say that scores higher in terms of it's a particular problem that pupil suffers from firsthand and has thought, well, if I had this would make my time in school better. So that's the only reason why I'm leaning towards that. From me personally, I think for me, my 2 favourites out of the 5, and I hate to do this because I think all 5 of them are absolutely deserved finalists, and I can't wait to meet them all on our STEM days. But I think if I had to pick 2, I think it's got to be between Jenna's table for, has it got a name, the sensory table, or I like the wellies, and I do like the tree. I think
I'm torn between these two.
And to be honest, I think if we're going back to what we've just said there before, the wellies is, you probably could buy something off the shelf.
Yeah.
That might do a very similar job.
Yeah.
It wouldn't look as striking, but I think that practicality maybe she could replace.
Yeah.
I think the table, don't get us wrong, I love the idea, but I think you could easily build that yourself. You don't have to build a piece of furniture. You could create that. So you could create the band solution that we love. You could add that to a table. So I think that design could be done. I think the tree design and the desk around it and stuff,
it's very original.
You can't buy. You can't buy it. You couldn't do it yourself. I think that has to be made. So I think from my point of view, that is the sort of the design feature that we're trying to do. I think the hard part is all 3 of them are
it is difficult.
Are strong in different areas, and that I think you could give that person loads of praise and loads of reward and say, look, we can help you create that yourself, and you've got what you want. I think that's give her a good credit for that. That needs a pat on the back.
I mean, all five need a pat on the back for getting to the final. But I totally agree. I mean, listen, you've done a good job of convincing me on this. Well, what's your thoughts, Helen? Where your favourites sort of lie?
We should call out partners. We're not going home tonight.
I think
that's what's happening here. To be quite
sorry,
honest
hang
with
on,
you.
phone in a friend.
Right, phone a friend with this one. Again, I can see the arguments on absolutely everything. Love this. Obviously,
and that is the welly.
Yeah, the welly ones. We're not talking about the structures now because we're not talking about the site visits and all that sort of stuff. So and all that.
Just what is your favourite, or what are your favourites?
I love them all, right? But at the end of the day, as you're saying, the tree's very striking. It's absolutely appealing. It's great. It's solving a problem to an issue.
Thank you very much.
Forget about everything that was said about site visits and all that sort of stuff with the both of them. The wellies again, brilliant, striking. I'd love to see that. Is it something that's not already in the shops that we couldn't buy off the shelf? I don't know, but it is great. It's luxury. But for this, with me, I know it's just a table, but it's not just a table, right?
It's a movement.
It's a movement, right? When I was a kid, we were all ADHD and sensory problems walking around that's had no help whatsoever growing up. It's a different world now, and I think this is a problem that's in the schools now. So even though you might think it's a simple table, right? It represents so much more than a simple table, right?
So I still love the table. I do think the sensory table is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I think it ticks all of the boxes of everything we've asked. I know we're throwing other things in there. I'm conscious that some of the things we're throwing in aren't necessarily in line with, so whether you could buy it from a shop or whatever, it was never part of the brief, realistically. However, if we're talking about, right, which one's going to win, which one would we love to see in a school? That's the bottom line, isn't it? Which one, when you walk into a school, would you love to see in a school? Which one's going to elevate the space? Which one's going to make that school more interesting? Which one's potentially going to benefit more of the kids? And I think it has to be, for me, the tree, I think.
Yeah.
I am leaning towards that, on the simple fact that it's a communal space, it's an area where all kids will go. I love the name. I think the Tree of Technology, I think it's so simple but so effective. It does exactly what it says on the tin. So I think I am being swayed towards the tree personally.
Yeah.
What about ruled? So the winner is?
I think we're
The Tree of Technology.
The Tree of Technology.
The Tree of Technology.
And it wasn't
And it
easy.
was
very
it
odd.
was my favourite anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it was one of my favourites anyway. So
I
the
think
Tree of
it's-
Technology is the winner.
So we've got Prince Bishop's Community Primary School. We haven't got a name of the student particularly, but the Tree of Technology, congratulations.
Well done.
You are absolutely the winner, and that was not the easiest decision I've ever had
I
to
wouldn't
make.
like to do this every day.
So
I really
no,
wouldn't.
absolutely not. But listen, I think it's fair to say all 5 of our finalists are winners. Our intention after speaking to our fantastic sponsors is to visit you all. We'll do a STEM day with you all, and you'll hopefully get a lot out of that day. We're going to spend a day with you. We are going to come down with some challenges. We're going to come down with some packs and plans. We're going to go through a whole range of STEM activities. You're going to learn about who we are. You're going to learn about the businesses that we have and the different jobs and career paths you can have in your future. And we're going to talk a little bit more about furniture. We're going to talk a little bit more about what everybody does individually.
Yeah.
There might even be some cool t-shirts handed around. We'll have a look at that one. See what we can do on that front. But we guarantee you'll have an action-packed fun day. So even if you were not our winner for this year, you're all winners, because I assure you the day will be fantastic. Is there anything else you guys want to add?
Yeah. Everybody who ended up on this table is a winner. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. And everyone who participated.
To be honest, when we've looked at all the drawings, it's hard. Somebody has to win.
Yeah.
I wish I could make everybody's, but you can't.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to next year.
Yes, but early next year,
get these built and get some more in, and
year.
it's an interesting process to go through, and it'll be nice to come and spend some time with the kids.
Absolutely, but hopefully as well, us doing this live on camera is always difficult, and us deciding a winner and discussing the different elements is always difficult. Everyone has different opinions, and there might be things you agreed with and things you disagreed with, but hopefully what this has done is given you some good feedback. So if you're going to compete next year, you know the kind of things we're looking for. You know the kind of things that'll get you into the final. So best of luck for next year as well. If you didn't make it quite this year into the final, well done for participating, and best of luck for next year.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.